Hi, my name is Sophia, and that's me packing my stuff to move to a whole new country. Why? Well, because my fiancé, Edgar, will have better job offers abroad after his master's degree. As for me, I'm a software developer, so I can thrive anywhere. Despite that, I applied for a master's degree to be close to Edgar. I worked day and night to fund our trip, and finally, it happened. We arrived in Canada. Edgar and I lived separately in Canada because he wanted to remain celibate till our wedding. He also wasn't ready to get married because he wanted a good job first, and I admired him for that. Soon after we arrived, our studies began, but we hung out at every free opportunity we had. In the summer holiday, Edgar went on a group trip with some friends from school. I asked if I could come along, but he said, "If you're there, I will not have time for my friends." Which was weird because his friend was going with his girlfriend. However, I let it slide because I didn't want Edgar to feel caged. Our communication throughout his trip was very inconsistent. He was either not answering his calls or too busy to talk. Summer was finally over and I was desperate for things to return to normal. I informed Edgar that I'd be picking him up from the airport and he agreed. But when the plane arrived, he was nowhere to be found. I waited till evening and he still didn't show up, but I noticed he updated his Instagram story. Surprisingly, Edgar was home already. I called to ask why he didn't call me when he arrived, but he said he forgot to tell me he booked an earlier flight. Regardless, I decided to surprise him at home. "Why are you here?" Edgar asked, looking annoyed. Suddenly, a woman came out. "Come back to bed, Edgar." They flirted briefly and she went back inside, then Edgar asked me to leave his house. I was so humiliated. Nothing made sense anymore. I called him the following day, but he was so mean to me. Edgar called me a stalker and said he would return the money I spent on his education and accommodation. The next few months were very painful for me. I saw my ex and his new lover at several places in town. A friend told me she was a citizen. Apparently, they both planned to get married. I couldn't believe he would throw what we had because he wanted to settle in Canada quickly. But Edgar soon ran into some big problems. His visa was revoked by immigration because his school attendance was poor. Also, he had to return home because his lover disappointed him. We found out she was married. Apparently, it was just an affair to her. I know this because her husband publicly embarrassed Edgar in school. Well, Edgar reached out to me when he got back to our country, begging for my forgiveness. He said he was ready to marry me, but I knew he wasn't truly sorry for what he did. He just wanted to return to Canada. So I politely refused. Canada turned out to be a huge blessing for me. After my degree, I got a high-paying job and obtained my permanent residency. I also married the loveliest man and we have 2 amazing kids. We all live happily. In life, people don't abandon who they love. They abandon who they used.